Hello class. I've received several emails and messages regarding the Fibonacci sequence in the midterm project. And I wanted to just shed a little clarification on what I was expecting. I did say that you should not use recursion, as they have an example of that in our textbook. Recursion is more of an advanced topic of methods, and I don't really want to get into that in that class. If there is some interest in it, I certainly can put together a little demonstration. So let me know if you are interested, and I'll go into that in a little more detail. But for this particular project, or midterm, a simple loop is all you really need, and potentially an array to store values. And that's what I really wanted to see you demonstrate in practice. So let's get into, first of all, what is the Fibonacci sequence? Well, the Fibonacci sequence is a mathematical sequence where you start with two values, and the values you start with are 0 and 1, and that's not a very good 0, let me fix that, are 0 and 1. And to generate the next number in the sequence is the sum of the prior two values. So right now we have a 0 and a 1. The next value would be, well, again, 1. If we continue that pattern, the prior two numbers are 1 and 1, so the next value would be 2. And the next value after that would be 1 plus 2 is 3. And you can see how it goes after that. 5, 8, 13, 21, etc. And that's the general sequence, and it just continues on and on and on. The request in the lab would be for you to generate a certain number based on the user's input. So if I say I wanted 5 Fibonacci sequence numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's the fifth one, just happens to be 5. That's not what I was going at. It's the fifth number in the sequence. If I wanted the sixth number, it would be 8, and the seventh number would be 13, and so on. If you're off by 1 in your calculation, that's fine, that's understandable. There is some debate whether is this the first number in the sequence or is it not. So if you're within 1 digit of what I expect, that's perfectly fine. So the whole idea is that you'll need two variables. And the first variable will be the first number, and the second variable will be the second number that you're going to add. So let's just take a look at this. If this is our first variable, we'll call it F1 or F0, and we can call this one F1. What you need to do is you need to add F0 plus F1 to get whatever the next one is. We'll call it F next. Hope you can read my handwriting. I'm trying to use a pen and a tablet for the first time, so a little sloppy, but I think you can get the gist of it. So F0 plus F1 becomes F next, and that's what we wanted to have all along. Now, the trick is, how do you get to the next number in the sequence? Well, the next number in the sequence would be, again, F0 and F1, but this time, let me pick a different color, F0 and F1 would be over here. This would be F0. This would be F1. And then over here we would have F next. So you can see there's a shift. So every time you calculate a digit, you need to shift values. F1 becomes F0, F next becomes F1, so you can then go on to the loop and calculate the next one. So that's basically how you will calculate the sequence without going into the actual syntax of Java to do that. Great. So that's pretty much what I want you to do. You see you can do this with a simple loop. You would start out by prompting the user for a value. You would accept that value. You would generate your loop. You would do your calculations and you'd print the result. Now, for the next part, where I say I want you to print it in reverse, you would ask for the starting point, the number of digits, Again, if you ask for 7 digits, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, number 13 here, you would print out 13, 8, 5, 3, 2, 1, 1, 0. So now, how would you go about doing that? Because it's hard to start. You don't know what that 7th digit is until you actually calculate it. So there's a couple of ways of doing it, and some are very loop intensive, and some are a little more elegant and easier to follow. That's why I suggest using an array. If you store these values in an array, F next, for each one, then it becomes a simple matter of printing the array in reverse order. So take that for what it's worth. If you've already submitted your lab and you want to retry it based on this video, feel free. That goes for any lab and any project. You can resubmit them as many times as you want before the due date, and it will be perfectly fine. So I hope that helps. I'm sorry for my chicken sketch handwriting on the pad, but I guess I'll figure that out as we go along as well. Anyway, that's it. Quick little video for that. I hope that helps. If you have further questions, please feel free to reach out, and I'll talk to you next week.